Part 59. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 581. Then, when 11 plucked up the courage and nervously put his little hand on Li Yuan's thigh, gently caressed it, and kept moving gently towards the inner thigh. For a moment, the car was filled with an ambiguous atmosphere. Only the hotel's chauffeur was looking ahead intently. Naturally, Li Yuan would not be unaware of being sold to a beautiful woman. He glanced at the other party with his peripheral vision, then at the other party's slightly trembling little hands, looking at Wen 11's blushing cheeks, looking shy and timid. In his heart, he wanted to interrupt the other party's casting, but in the end he held back. He just leaned on his seat, closed his eyes, pretended not to know anything, and peacefully enjoyed Wengzi's one-handed magic. This time, he purchased real estate worth hundreds of millions from Wengzi and his company, and their commission alone was worth several million. Let alone him, even if it were a sloppy old man in his 70s or 80s who bought properties worth hundreds of millions of dollars in one go, he would definitely not hesitate if he asked them to sacrifice their lives. Seeing that Li Yuan didn't stop his movements, Wengzi's heart suddenly relaxed. She secretly glanced at the driver in the row in front of her and saw that the driver was still concentrating on driving, so she became bolder. A pair of small hands continued to touch the depths. Li Yuan resisted the idea of executing the little goblin next to him on the spot, and suddenly grabbed Wen 11's little hand and moved it to the side. Ahem, we're here, get off the car. Oh, okay. Wengzi's cheeks were flushed, and his voice was a little strange. However, at this moment, her heart was filled with joy. In the car, Li Yuan did not firmly refuse, which gave her a glimmer of hope. When 11 bit her lip, her beautiful eyes secretly looked at Li Yuan's sunny and handsome face, and her heart was beating fast. The summer flower boy is really super handsome. I really love it to death. If I can sleep with him, I will have no regrets in this life. Wengzi, come on, you can do it. After taking a few designers to see this courtyard house. The two professional designers have rich experience in luxury home decoration design, and they immediately put forward some good ideas, which made Li Yuan very satisfied. All I can say is that it feels good to have money. Director Li, it's noon now. I have arranged lunch at the hotel. Zhang Yuan checked the time and made the invitation at the right time. Can you please show your respect to Mr. Li and have a meal together? Li Yuan generously spent hundreds of millions to buy a house in their company, making them a lot of money. If he didn't pay anything, he would be a little uneasy. Seeing that Li Yuan seemed a little hesitant, Zhang Yuan quickly made a gesture towards Wengzi. This is the last good opportunity. If you don't seize it, it will be difficult for you to seize it again. Wengzi naturally understood the meaning of Zhang Yuan's eyes. She moved closer to Li Yuan slightly nervously and whispered something. Xiahua, let's have a meal together, please. Li Yuan originally had no plans for lunch, but after hearing what Zhang Yuan and Wen 11 said, he nodded in agreement. Okay, let's have something for lunch. Okay, Director Li, don't worry, I've made all the arrangements for promotion. Zhang Yuan was overjoyed and secretly gave Wen 11 a thumbs up. Naturally, Zhang Yuan would not take Li Yuan's so-called eat casually seriously, and directly arranged for it to be arranged by a very low-key and luxurious private chef. After having enough wine and food. Thank you for the hospitality. It tastes good. Li Yuan waved his hand to signal farewell. Wengzi quickly came to Li Yuan, held his arm, and said nervously. Xiahua, if you drink some wine, I'll take you back to the hotel. The meaning of Wengzi's words is very obvious. Anyone who is not a fool can understand it. Although Li Yuan drank some wine, he didn't drink much and was very conscious. However, he did not refuse, but nodded slightly. In the Ritz-Carlton presidential suite. Li Yuan just entered the room. Wengzi rushed forward, and before he could react, he felt that his mouth had been blocked by a piece of softness. Next, Li Yuan didn't need to take the initiative, and he passively accepted the unspoken rules for the first time in his life. It's just that he was the one who was submerged. Afterwards, Li Yuan looked at Wen 11 curled up on the bed with a shy and satisfied look on his face, and sighed quietly. After all, he is just an ordinary man. The young female saleswoman in front of her with good looks and figure was just a little tempted and took the initiative to throw herself into her arms, but she couldn't control herself anymore and was pushed back. This made him have some self-doubt. After all, he was the scumbag himself. Or is it that his will is not firm at all? But in any case, he is not at a loss. Li Yuan glanced at the radiant Wen 11, and his tone was much gentler than before. Is this your first time? Have you never been in love before? Wangzi naturally knew what Li Yuan meant, and quickly explained in a low voice. De Xiahua, I have just graduated from college. My parents were very strict in the past and I have never been in love. Although Li Yuan was a little surprised that with Wangzi's good looks and figure, why he never had a relationship in college, he didn't say much. The world is so big, there are all kinds of people, and all kinds of things can happen. Just like myself, I chased Wangzi for 7 years in my previous life, and I didn't flirt with any other girls during that time, and I also rejected many girls pursued. Isn't this incredible to others? With his appearance and figure at that time, he had no shortage of girlfriends as long as he wanted to date. Although the quality may be far inferior to Wangzi, there is definitely no shortage of quantity. It can only be said that in Wangzi's case, his high school desk mate, the perfect white moonlight in his heart, raised his expectations of the opposite sex. Therefore, after breaking up with Wangzi, he quickly fell into depravity. In just a few years, he dated several girls, but he never had the feeling of first love again. Only youth is the best match for first love. Only first love is the most unforgettable. Just like now, the girl next to him, with good looks, figure, and conversation, can only bring him physical satisfaction, to solve the primitive desire between men and women, but can't bring him the feeling he had with Wangzi in his previous life. Oh, Li Yuan said softly and fell into silence. Seeing Li Yuan's silence, Wen 11's relaxed mood suddenly became nervous. She pursed her lips and opened her pearly teeth. Xiahua, I don't want anything, and I don't need you to be responsible. I just want to be willful once and satisfy my biggest wish. Now, I'm satisfied. Li Yuan always felt weird listening to Wen 11's words. Obviously, I was the one who took the initiative to use the hidden rules. Why do I feel like I'm being seduced now? No, I just bought a few houses and was seduced. Li Yuan felt very interesting. He also didn't understand what Wen 11 meant. Could it be that she really just wanted to sleep with him because she admired him? Or was she playing hard to get and wanted more? That was impossible. All he could say now was that he had lost control of his lower body for a moment and was just acting according to the circumstances. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Ken Ru Xiahua. Chapter 582. Ahem, you should know and hear about my situation. I can't give you anything. Li Yuan spoke calmly and directly chose to show off his cards. It is better to explain directly now that it is better for Wangzi to recognize the reality than to let her have unrealistic fantasies in her heart. It doesn't matter whether he hit her or she hit himself. Never mind him. Xiahuada, I really have no other ideas, I just like you as a person. I really like your songs and am your die-hard fan. It is my dream to do this with you. Now the dream has come true. Don't worry, I will definitely not interfere in your life, nor will I disturb you. I just hope that when you come to the imperial capital occasionally, you can tell me and see me once in a while. I swear, I will never interfere with your normal life. Listening to what the other party said, Li Yuan also felt a little compassion. This girl seems to really understand. Of course, the main reason is that the experience the other party brought to me just now is great, it is a pure emperor-like enjoyment. Only then did he feel a little moved in his heart. Although it is impossible for her to be his girlfriend, it is not bad to keep her outside as a vase. At least, it looks very eye-catching. In the future, when the company expands, Daidu will definitely come here often. Thinking like this, Li Yuan also had an idea in his mind. Of course, whether this idea can be implemented depends on the girl's own choice in bed. What are your plans for the future? Li Yuan asked, pretending to be casual. Wangzi was startled at first, and then a deep joy suddenly arose in his heart. He asked like this, did he mean? Xiahua. What do you mean? Wangzi asked cautiously. Li Yuan looked as usual, nothing, I just wanted to ask you. Wangzi said in a long voice, oh, I don't know. My academic qualifications are average and I have no work experience. Let's do these jobs first. Li Yuan thought for a while and asked again, are you interested in coming to my company? Ah, going to your company. Wangzi's eyes widened and he couldn't turn his head around. In her heart, she thought that after she gave her first time, the man in front of her might choose to unplug the ruthless and leave directly. It is also possible that there is an extra bit of possessiveness and a desire to protect oneself. The best situation is also the situation she longs for most in her heart. The other party and she have been in love for a long time and gradually become one of his girlfriends. But now I ask myself to resign and go to his company. What will happen? Wangzi couldn't understand it at all. However, although she didn't understand, she was as smart as she was and knew exactly what to do, which was the most correct choice. Xiaohuida, I will listen to you. I will do whatever you ask me to do. Listening to Wen 11's answer, Li Yuan smiled and joked, oh, you just believe me like this? Aren't you afraid that I will let you do bad things? Wangzi stared straight at Li Yuan with hook-like eyes and answered without hesitation. Xiaohuida, I believe you, you are a good person. Ahem, Li Yuan almost spit out a mouthful of water. Since his rebirth, some have said that he is talented, some have said that he is a scumbag, but no one has yet said that he is a good person. Isn't it a little late to issue good guy cards at this time? Okay, then I have to thank you and praise me as a good person. Are you really willing to obey my arrangements in everything? Wangzi nodded without hesitation, yes. Li Yuan glanced at this girl with admiration. Being so firm and without hesitation also showed that the girl was indeed smart and discerning. If you follow yourself, you will definitely not go hungry for 9 meals in 3 days. Not to mention being rich and powerful, wealth and freedom are not a big problem. Then you quit your job and come to work in my company. Okay, Xiaohuida, I listen to you. After Wangzi finished speaking, he proactively asked. Xiaohuida, what do you need me to do? Li Yuan asked, do you want to be a store manager? Wangzi was startled, store manager. Well, in a while, Beauty and Moonlight in the imperial capital will officially open, and there are still a few store managers missing. I think you are very suitable. Chapter 336, A Chance Encounter on the Yanda campus, an uneasy mood. Upon hearing Li Yuan's arrangement, Wangzi nodded in agreement without any hesitation. As a die-hard fan of Li Yuan, she knows everything about Li Yuan, including Li Yuan's various industries. Beauty and Moonlight, Glory of the King, Zhu, and so on. As for the Milk Tea Sister audition held by Beauty and Moonlight, she was naturally aware of it as a popular event across the country some time ago. In the current company, she is just an ordinary college student who has just joined the company. Apart from her appearance and figure, she has nothing outstanding. She also didn't have much experience as a real estate salesperson. In terms of treatment, it is also very average. In the imperial capital, it can only be regarded as below average. As for the treatment of tea beauty and moonlight, she had heard about it from the internet. As a very popular light luxury brand and the top catering brand in the country, the treatment is very high. As far as she knows, the per capita salary of the clerks in tea beauty and moonlight has reached more than 10,000 yuan, which can be said to be a high-income group. Of course, none of this matters. The most important point is that Li Yuan mentioned this personally. Li Yuan will definitely not harm her. Xiahua I will listen to you. Li Yuan smiled, okay, that's a happy decision. By the way, I'll assign you another task. My villas and courtyards all need to be renovated. If I'm not in the city, you can help me keep an eye on them. If nothing happens, go check on the progress. Renovation will take a lot of time, and you will also need to buy some things. Wait for me and I will give you an account. You will be responsible for supervising financial expenditures. There will also be living expenses for you. In addition to this, there is also a large flat floor that has been fully renovated in Tongjingyuan community. If you like it, you can live there. Listening to Li Yuan's arrangement, Wangzi's eyes brightened even more. He hurriedly nodded his head like a chicken pecking at rice. Xiaohuida, you are so kind. Li Yuan laughed, looked at Wen 11 in his arms, and sighed quietly in his heart. Very nice. What a scumbag, right? Li Yuan, you are becoming more and more depraved now. Self-control ability needs to be improved. Li Yuan said to himself. Around 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Li Yuan stretched his body, looked at Wen 11 who had been tortured until he fell asleep, and sighed. He and this woman had no emotion at all, just pure primitive desire. Even so, he could not control himself and played 2 friendly matches in just 2 or 3 hours. I have to say, the other party is really good at it. It made him wonder, had he been tricked? But it felt like it was real to him. But it doesn't matter, just treat it as a joke. If you are a scumbag, then you have to accept your fate. You cannot become a scumbag and still build a memorial arch. What is the difference between that and a scoundrel? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 583. Anyway, in the eyes of everyone who knows him across the country, he is an out-and-out scumbag. After washing up, I changed into simpler sportswear and then walked out of the hotel quietly. After getting on the hotel car, the chef respectfully asked, Mr. Li, where are we going? Li Yuan stared ahead, his thoughts already flying to another place. Yanjing University. As one of the 2 most well-known universities in the country, Yanjing University, which has just opened, is very lively. The campus is full of college students full of youthful vitality. Li Yuan walked alone in this nationally famous university, wearing a sun hat and a mask to cover up his inner uneasiness. After more than 3 months, he was the one who really came to a strange city to look for that elf-like girl. The girl who suddenly flew away from him like a bird seemed to be far apart. She was never heard from again and became the most familiar stranger. Xingxin, today's advanced mathematics class is really difficult. I can't understand it. I was among the top 3 in the county in the college entrance examination. I am a well-known genius. How come I became ordinary after entering university? Hey, I'm talking to you, what are you looking at? Yuan, please stop talking. Look at the boy next to you, does he look familiar? Which boy do you want me to see? Hey, it's true. He looks familiar. He's so tall. Even though he's wearing a mask, he looks like a handsome guy. He's dressed so coolly. Xingxin, Are you excited? Do you want to go up and ask for your phone number? No, don't interrupt. Looking at his figure and profile, he looks a bit like a big star. Big star, who are you talking about? It seems a bit similar. Who else could it be? That's Yahua, who is very popular recently, the big star who sang Essence of Makeup, Little Lucky and Confession Balloon. Oh, by the way, there is also Glory of the King that is being promoted on the internet. Are you talking about being born like a summer flower? They seem to look a bit alike, right? This figure, this dress, this profile. Damn it, it can't really be him, right? I feel a bit like it, but I'm not sure. I remember, didn't Xiahua go to college in Shanghai? Why did she appear on our Yanda campus? Whatever, let's go over and take a look. Xingxin, come on, he's leaving, let's go over and say hello. Li Yuan looked at the two shy girls in front of him who were not tall and dressed in simple clothes. My head is a little confused. He had just arrived at Yanda, and he was recognized before he even had time to walk around. Are your characteristics so obvious? Li Yuan took off his mask with a slight embarrassment, looked at the two excited girls in front of him, and spoke sheepishly. Ahem, two classmates, I am Li Yuan, please help me keep this secret. Seeing that it was really Li Yuan, Zhang Xingxin and Zhou Yuan were shocked from ear to ear, their eyes widened, and their voices trembled. Li Yuan's current reputation is so great. With the blessing of honor of kings, he is well known among college students. Those who like to read novels, listen to music, play games, surf the internet. Basically, everyone has heard of Li Yuan's name and come into contact with Li Yuan's works. It can be said that in the field of Chinese stars, Li Yuan is one of the most influential ones, and he is also the one who is at the peak of his power. He has developed in many fields, such as literature, music, business, and other fields, and has achieved outstanding achievements. Zhang Xingxin nodded her head quickly, and there seemed to be little stars in her eyes. Xiahua, we will definitely keep it a secret for you. Xiahua, why are you here at Yan University? Xiahua, can we take a photo with you? Xiahua, you are really super handsome in person. I am your fan and I especially like to listen to the songs you write. Listening to the two young female college students talking incessantly, Li Yuan felt a little numb. He quickly stopped with a voice. Ahem, I came to Yanda to have some personal matters. It's okay to take a group photo, but there are a lot of people here. Let's move to a place with fewer people. Li Yuan looked around. Because he was staying with two girls, he had attracted the curious attention of some college students. If he waits for a while, maybe it will be exposed, which is not what he wants to see. This time when he came to Yan University, he just wanted to take a look at Xiao Yu from a distance, see the other person's condition, and then decide whether to see him or not. Besides, he was also a little worried. It would be very bad if he hadn't seen Xiao Yu yet, and then the other party knew that he was coming to Yan University, and then hid from him without seeing him. Zhang Xingxin and Zhou Yuan naturally had no objection. The two girls looked excited, leading Li Yuan to the left and the other to a remote path. Fortunately, it was not lunchtime yet, the number of students was not too large, and Li Yuan was wearing a mask and baseball cap, so his identity was not revealed for the time being. Xiahua, are you going to hold a concert in the imperial capital this time? When will it be held? We also want to hear you sing. Xiahua, when will the Honor of Kings national competition be held? Many of our students have signed up. Can we sign up according to the university? Xiahua, I heard that Tea Beauty and Moonlight is going to open a branch in the imperial capital. When will it open? Xiahua, I heard that you have several girlfriends. Is it true? Along the way, two girls, Zhang Xingxin and Zhou Yuan, kept asking excitedly. Some questions made Li Yuan feel a little numb. However, after his questioning, he also found out that these two girls were both sophomores, majoring in liberal arts, majoring in Chinese language and literature. Thinking of this, Li Yuan had an idea and thought of a way. Two classmates, can I ask you to do me a favor? Zhang Xingxin and Zhou Yuanyuan quickly agreed, of course, Xiaohui. Please tell me. Li Yuan smiled slightly, that's right. Can you help me find a list of sophomore Chinese students and their course schedules? The last time he learned from Zhang Ruoxiu, Xiao Yuer had transferred to Yenching University and was studying Chinese. The Chinese department and the Chinese language and literature department seemed to belong to the same college, and they were both sophomores in the same class. They might be able to help find information about Xiao Yuer. When Zhang Xingxin and Zhou Yuanyuan heard Li Yuan's request, they looked at each other and immediately agreed without saying a word. Xiaohui, no problem. We are from the same college. I also know a few friends from the Chinese department. I can definitely help you find him. By the way, Xiaohua, can you take the liberty to ask, which girl from the Chinese department are you looking for? After hearing this, Li Yuan made a joke, why is it a girl? Can't it be a boy? Zhang Xingxin pursed her lips and snickered, hey, if it were anyone else, I believe it would be a boy, but Xiaohua, you, haha, must be a girl. Zhou Yuanyuan also answered with a smile, Xiaohui, the girl you are looking for should be very beautiful, right? I heard that there is a very beautiful girl in the Chinese department of the sophomore year, who is recognized as the school beauty by many boys in our school. What is her name, some fish? Oh, I've heard of it too. It seems to be called a fish. I've encountered it twice on the road before. I can't remember exactly. This school beauty is very low-key. She doesn't show up at all. She seems to be a bit taciturn and has a cold personality. She often looks like she doesn't want to get close to strangers. Listening to the introductions of the two girls, Li Yuan's heart suddenly skipped a beat, and Xiao Yuer's voice and smile could not help but appear in his mind. In his memory, Xiao Yuer was the kind of lively, cheerful, quirky, angelic elf girl who was full of vigor and had a good personality. From the first time I met him, he always looked full of energy and brought me a lot of joy. Go shopping together, walk together, compose music together, sing together. Every second that Xiao Yuer spends with him, he feels very happy. There is always a smile on his face that will never fade away. The two cute dimples always make people feel happy. But now, is it because of me that she became like this? Li Yuan muttered to himself, his eyes becoming a little confused. My philandering and scumbag behavior really broke this girl's heart. Let an elf princess become what she is now. Li Yuan suddenly felt a dull pain in his heart, as if his feet were filled with lead balls, making it difficult to move at all. Zhang Xingxin and Zhou Yuanyuan looked at Li Yuan's sudden change in expression. They looked at each other and immediately confirmed in their hearts that the girl they just talked about must be the person Li Yuan was looking for. Xiaohui, what's that girl's name? Let me help you find her. After listening to Zhang Xingxin's words, Li Yuan came back to his senses, sighed quietly in his heart, and regained his composure. Her name is Zhang Ziyu. She transferred here last year. Could you please help me find her class schedule? If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 584. By the way, it must be kept secret and she must not know. When Zhang Xingxin and Zhou Yuanyuan heard this, they roughly understood what was going on. Zhang Xingxin thought about the love history about Li Yuan that she had seen on the internet, and suddenly her eyes lit up, as if she had discovered something. She vaguely remembered that she had seen a video of Li Yuan and the girl named Yu singing No Makeup together on the stage on the internet before. However, later, for some reason, this video could not be found on the internet. Is it really her? Did Xiahua come to Yanda specifically to find her? In this case, the situation seems to make sense. Hee, there seems to be a shocking melon to eat here. Zhang Xingxin couldn't help but hang the news on the corner of her mouth. Looking at Li Yuan's sad eyes, she stopped her guesses and volunteered to take the task. Xiahua, leave it to me. I'll go back to the dormitory to help you check it now. Li Yuan's heart suddenly became happy. Xingxin, thank you so much. Zhang Xingxin waved her hand. Xiahua, leave your contact information. I'll call you when I find it. Li Yuan nodded. My phone number is 138. Okay, Xiahua, let's go first and wait for our good news. Well, thank you, Li Yuan thanked. After Zhang Xingxin and Zhou Yuan left, Li Yuan sat alone in a corner of the playground, flipping through his phone, and found a standard phone number for Xiao Yuer. He couldn't calm down for a long time. Chapter 337 Xiao Yuer, long time no see. On the way back to the dormitory, the two girls chattered non-stop, and their expressions were very excited. Xingxin, pinch me, it feels like a dream, I actually met Xiahua, the male god. Oh, you really pinched me, damn girl, it hurts me to death. Zhang Xingxin covered her mouth and laughed, I am really surprised, what a coincidence. Xiahua must have come to our school today to find his girlfriend. Yuan, do you think it would be shocking if we spread this news? That's not certain, that's Xiahua, a superstar. I'm a little curious now, is Xiahua's girlfriend the school beauty in our Chinese department? It should be, except for her, no one can match Xiahua. Although Xiahua is a little fickle, he is really super handsome, tall and handsome, and his boyfriend power is maximum. Excellent boys who are good at sex will definitely attract girls. You know, when I was with Xiahua just now, I felt like I was in love. That feeling is really exciting. Who doesn't feel the same? I feel the same as you. I have a special feeling when I am with Xiahua. It seems that I am emitting a unique attraction that makes people's hearts beat. It would be great if I could be Xiahua's girlfriend. Even if it is only for a short time, I would definitely be very happy and unforgettable for a lifetime. Oh, don't be delusional. Ordinary girls like us can't enter Xiahua's eyes. Go, and help Xiahua find his girlfriend's information. The two girls came to the dormitory and immediately started to inquire about the news, and then found Zhang Xiu's schedule. Zhang Xingxin looked at the information about Zhang Xiu and patted her slightly raised chest. Hey, I found it, it's done. I told you, this is a piece of cake. Her name is Zhang Xiu, the school beauty of our Chinese department, who transferred here from Shanghai last year. She should be the girlfriend of Xiahua. Tisk, Xingxin, do you find it strange that different universities can transfer to each other? Zhou Yuan squinted her eyes and looked at Zhang Xiu's message, feeling a little unbelievable. Zhang Xiu transferred from Daxia University in Shanghai to our Yanda University in October last year, and she is in the Chinese department. This background is quite impressive. What's so strange about this? There are many talented people in our school, and I am used to seeing students with various backgrounds. It's nothing to transfer to another school. Don't say it, Xiahua is still waiting for us in the playground, let's go there quickly. It's almost time for dinner now, and I don't know if Xiahua has eaten yet. If I can have dinner with Xiahua, I will remember it for the rest of my life. Wake up, it's daytime now, and it's not dark yet. Li Yuan looked at the schedule of Zhang Xiu's classes, as well as the information about her dormitory, and felt very nervous. There was a feeling that the closer he got, the more nervous he felt. He wanted to see her very much, but he was a little afraid. Because he didn't know what he could say or do if he really saw her. Would she be willing to see him? Oh, why think so much? Let's go and take a look at her secretly first, and it will be a wish. Li Yuan looked at the schedule on his mobile phone, which showed Zhang Xiao's evening classes. He was alone, sitting alone on the playground, quietly waiting for the arrival of the evening. Xiao, hurry up, don't dawdle, you will be late for the music elective class in the evening. I'm here, that's it. Zhang Xiao took the guitar from the bookshelf in the dormitory, wiped it gently, and put it in his backpack. Zhou Qin saw Zhang Xiao carrying the guitar, and his expression was a little helpless. I said, Xiao, aren't you tired? Every time you take music elective classes, you have to carry a guitar on your back. Zhang Xiao smiled slightly, it's okay, it's not too heavy. It feels better to carry the guitar on your back during music class. Sometimes, the teacher will ask us to play on the spot. Zhou Qinkan held her forehead, shook her head, and looked amazed. You can sing so beautifully, but you still work so hard, how can you let ordinary people like us live? Hee, if you make your debut, I think you will definitely be more popular than the popular Shen Ruxiawa. Hearing the words live like a summer flower, Zhang Xiao's body trembled suddenly and quickly regained his composure. In the past few days, the name of this once most familiar stranger has been ringing in my ears. It's a pity, Xiao, you are too low-key and don't like to be in the limelight. Zhou Tan looked very regretful. She is very familiar with the musical talent of her roommate. She sings very beautifully, like a kind of heavenly sound. It is very penetrating and is no different than those big stars. If he makes his debut, he will definitely become a big hit. It's just that my roommate has no such thoughts at all. He just likes music and singing. I don't have the slightest idea about becoming famous or making money. That's right, as my roommate, I'm not short of money at all. From clothes to clothing, food, clothing, housing and transportation, he is very generous with his usual expenses. The family must be either rich or noble. Let's go. There are too many people in Teacher Wang's music class. It's always full. Zhou Tan muttered, took Zhang Xiao's little hand, and walked towards the teaching building. By the time the two arrived at the latter teacher, many students were already sitting in the classroom. Especially the front row was almost full, which was very different from other courses. Because, today's music elective course is taken by Teacher Wang. Hey, there are so many people today. Teacher Wang is so popular. There are many boys coming to class, and the first 5 rows are basically full. Should have come earlier. Zhou Tan kept looking at the empty seats in the classroom with his big eyes. Jiayu, come on, there are 2 more seats here near the corridor. In the corner of the lecture theater, Li Yuan wore a hat and a mask and watched every figure who walked into the classroom intently. He had already arrived at the music class at 7 o'clock in the evening. At around 6:30, hiding quietly in the corner, quietly paying attention to every figure who entered the classroom. Just to not miss the girl you want to see. As the number of students in the classroom gradually increased, Li Yuan also observed more carefully for fear of missing anything. The lecture theater is very large and can seat 100 to 200 people. In addition, it is a music elective class, so it is quite popular and there are many people. At around 6:40, students started to come in one after another and started to grab seats and look for good seats. It's almost time for class, will she not come? Li Yuan muttered to himself anxiously, staring intently at every figure entering the classroom. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Ken Ru Xiahua. Chapter 585. Suddenly, a familiar figure walked in from the back door of the classroom. When he saw this figure, Li Yuan's heart suddenly trembled. He could no longer sit still and stared straight at the other person. He was murmuring softly. Little fish. She's coming. One can imagine Li Yuan's inner excitement when he saw this elf-like girl again after nearly 4 months. He wanted to stand up immediately, walk over, and say hello. However, in the end, reason defeated impulse. He didn't act rashly, he just watched quietly as Zhang Ziyu and another girl sat down together on the edge of the corridor with seats 6 rows in front of him. Zhang Ziyu sat on the edge of the corridor. There was an empty seat. Next to her was another girl. From the looks of it, she should be her roommate. Looking at the familiar profile of the girl whom I miss so much, Li Yuan calmed down and couldn't help but smile. It's great to see this elf girl again. As Xiao Yuer walked into the classroom, there was obviously more commotion in the classroom, especially among the boys in the classroom. Li Yuan has very good hearing. He could hear some boys talking quietly about Xiao Yuer. Look, school beauty Zhang is here. Hee, I found out that school beauty Zhang likes to take music classes, so I came here. Tisk tisk, she is indeed the recognized school beauty of Yan University. Her temperament, looks, and figure are just amazing. There are still seats in the back row for the school beauty, should we sit there? Haha, there is a seat next to the school beauty Zhang. Why don't you take it? How dare I? If any boy dares to sit next to Zhang, the school beauty, he must not be killed by the eyes of other boys in the classroom. Our school beauty Zhang is good at everything, but she is a bit too aloof. She looks like she should not be approached by strangers. Any boy who comes near her will feel as if he is frozen. Gangzi, I heard someone say that school beauty Zhang doesn't like boys, but likes girls. She's a homosexual. I don't know if it's true or not. Damn it, don't talk nonsense. School belle Zhang is so beautiful, how can she be gay? Haha, if it's not the same, then why doesn't she have a boyfriend? As far as I know, there are not only 1,000 but also 800 people in our school who want to pursue her. There are some suitors with very good conditions, tall and handsome. Yes, there are rich and powerful people in the family. Can it be said that she doesn't like them? Who knows, I heard that the school beauty Jiang's family is also very good. Maybe she likes talented people. Hee, like me. I ranked first in the province in the college entrance examination. Come on, I wouldn't even look down on you as a girl, let alone the beauty of Zhang school. I heard a rumor that school beauty Zhang transferred to our school after receiving emotional intelligence training. Therefore, she hates all male creatures very much. How can a peerless beauty like Zhang school beauty fall in love with her, wake up from her dreams with laughter, and be emotionally intelligent? This is simply impossible. I said it was hearsay. Who knows if it's true or not? I don't believe it anyway. Listening to the discussions of the boys around him, Li Yuan frowned, and then sighed leisurely. What they said is actually correct. Yi Jiang's condition is really perfect in all aspects, whether it is personality, figure, appearance, education, family, specialties, etc. He is excellent in all aspects, without blind spots. Just like this, there will be many suitors wherever she goes, and she will be recognized as the school beauty. She is super white and rich, but she has emotional intelligence. If you tell me, who will believe it? Probably no one would believe it except a few people who knew about it, right? But I really hurt this perfect girl to the core. Li Yuan's eyes were filled with confusion and guilt. He didn't even know how to face this elf girl now. What qualifications do I have to walk in front of her? Li Yuan just stared at Zhang Ziyu's back quietly until the bell was about to ring. A young female teacher who was very fashionably dressed, wearing high heels, combing her hair in big waves, and carrying a guitar bag, came to the center of the classroom. Students, welcome to our first music elective class next semester. I am your teacher Wang. Today, our course is the rise and development of modern popular music. Everyone knows that on the Spring Festival Gala in 1987, teacher Fei Xiang's A Fire in Winter directly announced the beginning of modern pop music in our country. In the following time, pop music began to develop vigorously and rapidly. Starting from Hong Kong and Taiwan music, to Japanese, Korean, European and American music entering the domestic market, our mainland music also ushered in wave after wave. The genius. Now, the domestic modern pop music scene is completely in an era where 100 schools of thought are contending. It is a very good era, and some representative figures have emerged, such as Jejo, Lee Yuen, etc. The rhythm of modern music is very fast, and its popularity is also very high. In the era of the internet, a good piece of music can spread all over the country and all over the world in just 1 or 2 days. Lee Yuen was sitting in the back row. He was looking at Xiao Yuer intently. Suddenly he heard his name and his expression was startled. He subconsciously looked up and saw the beautiful teacher on the podium giving a lecture with great energy. I couldn't help but smile and shook my head, feeling very interesting. He didn't expect that his reputation would be so great that he could appear in the music class of Yanda, one of the highest universities in the country. After listening to the beautiful music teacher's lecture in class, Lee Yuen quickly lost interest. Although he likes music and singing, he is not in the slightest mood at this moment. His mind was filled with all the details about being with Xiao Yuer. All I could think about was how to face Xiao Yuer now. After struggling for a long time, Lee Yuen decided to take action. Lee Yuen, be brave. Don't be such a coward. No matter what the outcome is, you must have the courage to face it. This day is bound to come and must be faced. It is useless to avoid it. Li Yuen encouraged himself in his heart and encouraged himself. He looked at the back of Zhang Ziyu, who was paying attention to the lecture, and the empty seat next to her, and gradually made a decision in his heart. Looking at the classroom, there were densely packed students. There were over 100 or dozens of them, and they were all studying seriously with the beautiful music teacher. Li Yuen took advantage of the fact that in class, when the beautiful teacher turned to face the blackboard, he stood up nervously. Take off your hat and hold it in your hand. Then, he quickly left his seat and quietly came to sit next to Zhang Ziyu. I was in class when a boy suddenly sat next to me. Zhang Ziyu's beautiful face showed a confused look, and he couldn't help but turn his head to look over. From this look, even though Li Yuen was wearing a mask, she could still tell that the boy's profile in front of her looked so familiar and similar. How could she forget? How could we forget? That was her first love, and the man she once loved the most. Zhang Ziyu stared at Li Yuen blankly. In confusion. She heard the boy in front of her suddenly take off his mask, turned his head, looked at her, and said something she would never forget. Xiao Yuer, long time no see. Chapter 338 Birds and Cicadas, Complete Book. At this moment, Li Yuen's eyes and Zhang Ziyu's eyes met, sparks intertwined like lightning. Li Yuen looked at the person in front of him who was thinking about him. His originally nervous and anxious mood suddenly became calm at this moment. At this moment, the whole world seemed to suddenly become quiet, and it was as if there was no one else in the classroom. I only have you in my eyes. Li Yuen just stared at Zhang Ziyu's face, looking at her clear and bright eyes, which were like autumn water. First, a look of confusion flashed across her face. After a while, she became a little evasive. After a while, she was stained with confusion again. A layer of fog. Until a clear, graceful, and slightly sad voice sounded. Brother Xiahua. Zhang Ziyu stared at Li Yuen with misty eyes and murmured softly. At this moment, her whole world seemed to have suddenly lost everyone else, leaving only Li Yuen and her. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Ken Ru Xiahua. Chapter 586. Li Yuen stared at the girl in front of him, looking at her misty eyes, his already calm mood suddenly trembled. I opened my mouth, Obviously there were a lot of things I wanted to say and a lot of things I wanted to ask, but in the end, it just turned into one sentence. How are you lately? Zhang Ziyu looked at Li Yuan. She also had many things she wanted to say, but in the end, she also reduced them to one sentence. And you? I'm fine. Yeah, me too. Next to Zhang Ziyu, Zhou Tan also noticed something strange about Zhang Ziyu. When he saw Li Yuan appearing in front of him and sitting next to Zhang Ziyu, he suddenly exclaimed. Are you Li Yuan, born like a summer flower? Her loud exclamation was like a thunderclap, instantly causing an uproar in the peaceful classroom. The other students around her looked over curiously when they heard the names Sheng Ru Xiahua and Li Yuan. These two names are very popular among college students, and almost everyone knows them. Zhu, Battle of the Stars, Glory of the King, Tea Beauty and Moonlight, and all kinds of very popular music. When other college students around them turned their curious eyes to Li Yuan and Zhang Ziyu, and saw the true face of Li Yuan who had taken off his mask, they suddenly let out bursts of exclamations. Damn it, am I not dazzled? This is Xiaohuida. When did he come to our school and appear in our classroom? It's really him. I'm a fan of the summer flower goddess. I particularly like his songs. I can recognize them even if they turn into ashes. Oh my god, why is Xiaohuida here? He is sitting next to the school beauty Zhang now. Could it be that he is here to find the school beauty Zhang? Look at the expressions on the two of them, something is wrong. School belle Zhang looks like she is about to cry. I can guarantee that there is definitely something going on between Li Yuan and the school beauty Zhang. Isn't this nonsense? Who doesn't know whether the school beauty Zhang suddenly transferred to another school or transferred from the Magic City? Li Yuan is also from the Magic City, and now he appears here again, sitting together. Even a fool knows that the two of them have an affair. Bar. This exclamation instantly attracted the attention of more than 100 people in the entire classroom. Even in class, the beautiful music teacher cast curious glances. Li Yuan, is he here? I just mentioned his name in class. What's going on? The beautiful music teacher listened to the chaotic discussion and did not stop it. Instead, she showed curiosity and looked in the direction of Li Yuan and Zhang Ziyu, as if she was ready to eat the melon. Zhou Tan looked at Li Yuan and Zhang Ziyu blankly, and wiped his eyes to make sure he was not dreaming. She greeted Li Yuan with wide eyes. Hey, are you really as beautiful as a summer flower, Li Yuan? Li Yuan glanced at the other person. He saw a very handsome college student who should be Zhang Ziyu's friend. The two of them came to the classroom together. Well, I am, Li Yuan said with a smile. Wow, it's really you, Xiaohuida. Zhou Tan looked very excited and covered his mouth in shock. Finally seeing you in person. Really handsome, even more handsome than on TV. Ziyawa. Are you here to find the juvenile fish? Zhou Tan looked at Li Yuan and Zhang Ziyu with a strange look, and she naturally noticed something was different. She knew her roommate, a school beauty whom she had just met, all too well. It's okay for girls, not so aloof. But when facing boys, she is very cold, almost without saying a word, like an iceberg beauty, making all the boys who are close to her tremble with cold. This was the first time she saw Zhang Ziyu acting like a little girl in front of her. Especially those beautiful eyes that are as bright as stars, have been covered with a layer of mist. I don't know when, they will condense into tears and fall quietly. Li Yuan replied, well, I'm looking for Xiao Yuer. Hearing Li Yuan's decisive answer, Zhou Tan showed a strange smile, touched Zhang Ziyu's tense body, and joked. He, Xiao, you hid it so deeply from me. You actually know Li Yuan. The relationship seems very unusual. Zhang Ziyu didn't answer, but just looked at Li Yuan blankly, looking at this once very familiar face. No one knows how long she cried alone after she left that day, How many times she cried, and how much she missed him. However, she couldn't get close, couldn't accept it, and could only be sad alone, trying to use time to forget this man. Is it really that simple to forget someone? Especially this man, who brought her the ultimate happiness, brought her profound memories, and brought her many beautiful things. Can't forget it? Even as the songs appeared one after another, they began to spread across the country and spread to her ears, making it even more difficult for her to forget. Zhang Ziyu stared at Li Yuan closely, holding back tears with misty eyes, and just looked at Li Yuan without saying a word. Li Yuan's heart trembled. Seeing Xiao Yuer's expression, he felt extremely uncomfortable. The words and explanations he wanted to say before seeing her could not be opened. In the end, it could only be reduced to one sentence. Xiao Yuer, I'm sorry. He didn't want to lie to this elf-like girl anymore, he just wanted to sit in front of her and give her a serious apology. Pay for your mistakes. He is a scumbag and does not deserve to be liked by such a girl. When Zhang Ziyu heard Li Yuan's apology, he could no longer bear the grievance in his heart. The mist in his eyes suddenly condensed into tears, quietly falling from the corners of his eyes. Seeing Xiao Yuer crying suddenly, Li Yuan felt pain in his heart as if he had been strangled by a knife. Looking at the elf girl in front of him, he felt once again whether he had done something wrong. This is the third time. It happened once to Xiao Haijin, once to Zhong Tingyu, and now to Zhang Ziyu. Obviously, after rebirth, he wanted to be a Neptune, a scumbag who only cares about his kidneys but not his heart. However, he met three perfect girls who made his heart flutter, and his heart fell deeply into them. It became what it is now. To call him a scumbag is beyond the pale, and to call him a devoted person is even more ridiculous. Many times, it seems very entangled, and my heart is always wavering between two voices. Is this the price you have to pay after being reborn? After getting so much, you have to pay something. Wow, I feel like I'm going to get something shocking today. Listening to the conversation between the two of them, I'm 100% sure that Li Yuan and our school beauty Zhang have had emotional entanglements before. Look, the school belle Zhang is crying. Mata, Li Yuan, this scumbag, doesn't already have several girlfriends, why are you still messing with my goddess? Now I really want to take the bench and beat up this scumbag Li Yuan. Don't cry, school beauty, stay away from the scumbag, you still have us. I suddenly remembered that I had seen a video on the internet before. In the video, Li Yuan and two school beauties sang no makeup on stage. It turned out that they were a couple? Maybe they broke up later. Isn't Li Yuan just a star? What's there to pretend to be and what's worth liking? School belle Zhang, we support you, give this scumbag a slap in the face. The beautiful teacher looked at the increasingly noisy sounds in the classroom, as well as the heated discussions among some boys. She even saw several boys with fire in their eyes, holding textbooks in their hands, as if they were going to attack Li Yuan. His eyelids suddenly twitched. I had a feeling something was wrong. She naturally knew Zhang Ziyu, a girl with extremely high musical talent, and knew that this girl was very popular in school and had many suitors. Just like now, in this class, there must be at least one boy with half a smile who is secretly in love with Zhang Ziyu. There are at least one of the top boys chasing Zhang Ziyu. However, as far as she knows, Zhang Ziyu treats all boys without pretense. Before, she was a little confused and didn't know why, but now she realized that Zhang Ziyu likes someone else, a very famous playboy. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 587. Seeing that the class was getting out of control, the beautiful teacher had no choice but to step forward. Ahem, fellow students, it's class time now, keep quiet. As soon as the beautiful teacher spoke out, the noisy classroom slowly regained its calm. She came to Li Yuan and Zhang Ziyu again and greeted them kindly. Li Yuan, hello. Li Yuan looked at the beautiful music teacher and stood up quickly. Hello, Teacher Wang. The beautiful teacher was a little surprised. She didn't expect that Li Yuan actually knew her, which made her a little flattered. You know me? Yes, Li Yuan smiled and nodded. Before coming to class, he learned about the situation of the teachers in today's class through Zhang Xingxin and Zhou Yuanyuan. Of course, I just knew a name. Teacher Wang looked at Li Yuan, and Zhang Ziyu, who turned away. The fire of gossip in his heart was burning, and he couldn't help but ask aloud. Li Yuan, Yuan Ziyu, what are you doing? Li Yuan glanced at Zhang Ziyu, who turned away and sighed in his heart, not knowing how to answer. Seeing Li Yuan's troubled expression and thinking about the discussion he just heard from other students, Teacher Wang understood instantly. In this situation, it is obvious that they were lovers before, but then they got into trouble and broke up. Ahem, Li Yuan, Xiao, how about you guys talk alone and privately? She was reminding her that in a public place like a classroom, with so many people staring at her, it would have a bad impact. She looked around and saw that some students had already taken out their mobile phones and cameras and started recording videos. Li Yuan looked around, then looked at Zhang Ziyu, who turned away and was still crying silently. I sighed quietly in my heart, but decided to follow the originally prepared plan. He looked at Zhang Ziyu with soft eyes and said softly. Xiao Yuer, can you lend me your guitar again? Zhang Ziyu looked confused when he heard Li Yuan's voice. He raised his head and glanced at Li Yuan, as if asking what Li Yuan was going to do. I wrote a song for you and wanted to give it to you. This is our previous agreement. When Zhang Ziyu listened to Li Yuan's answer, the memory in his mind was instantly lifted, and he returned to the time when the two of them were together in the Magic City. She looked deeply at Li Yuan and nodded her head gently. He picked up the guitar from the ground, opened the guitar case, and handed it to Li Yuan. Li Yuan took the guitar. Then he looked at the beautiful music teacher. Teacher Wang, can I borrow your class for a few minutes? Teacher Wang knew that Li Yuan was going to sing in public, so naturally he would not disagree, so he nodded quickly and made a gesture of invitation. Of course, please. Li Yuan, thank you. After saying that, Li Yuan slowly plucked the strings under the eyes of more than 100 pairs of surprised eyes and discussions in the classroom. Xiahua, are you going to sing in public? Come and take an elective class and attend a concert. It's so worth it. Sisters, hurry up and take out your mobile phones. Let's record it together. This is such a rare opportunity. Li Yuan has written more than 10 songs in the past few months. Each one is a classic. Isn't tonight also a new song? I can't miss it. I must record it. Immediately, more than 100 students in the entire class almost unanimously took out their mobile phones, cameras, MP4s, etc., and turned on the video recording function. Li Yuan was used to this and simply ignored it. He only had Zhang Ziyu in his eyes now. As the strings of the piano fluctuated, the tune that I had practiced many times in private in the Magic City for this meeting began to play leisurely. You said that youth is the best match for first love, like light snow falling on the coastline. The 5th season will be released one day and we will have time to meet. You fly away proudly, the summer where I live. The inaudible declaration has been repeated for many years. The thoughts of the northern latitude are blown away by the monsoon, and the profile of the silent thoughts is blown away. Psalms that are sung far away. You fly away proudly, the leaf I rest on. Go to different worlds but never say goodbye. The longing of the sea and the moon transformed into me yesterday. On my mature smile. You haven't even looked at it? As Li Yuan's melodious and deep singing voice sounded, the entire classroom fell into silence. Most of those who can take music elective courses like music, and they can naturally hear Li Yuan's true feelings when singing this song. In Li Yuan's eyes, unknowingly, they were covered with a layer of fog, sparkling with tears. Sing a song. Li Yuan looked at Xiao Yu'er, who was already crying, and gently came to her and stretched out his hand. Xiao Yu'er, can you accompany me for a walk? Listening to Li Yuan's voice. At this moment, a smile suddenly appeared on Zhang Xiao's tear-stained pretty face, and she also stretched out her hand. Complete book. This book has written 1.67 million words so far. If you want to write, there are many more stories. However, I think it is better to end here. Later, I will post some side stories from time to time. If you are interested, you can check it out.